Good afternoon. It is just after 4 p.m. on Tuesday the 15th of December 2020. My name is Arran Hunt. I'm a partner here at Stace Hammond and I head up the Migration Partners team. As always, this should not be taken as being legal advice. It's just our commentary on what's happening with immigration here in New Zealand. If you're looking for legal advice, please get in contact with us by email or phone, or come into our office and come see us. We weren't planning on doing a video today, but Tinsy has sent through a new article that we thought was worth bringing to your attention, especially to those students who wanted to study in New Zealand or resume your studies. So this quick video is about mainly students, but there is some other good news in there as well for others offshore. So with the start of each new political term, the various departments within the government advise the incoming minister on how things are, the scenario, their views, their plans, how things are going forward. Now, of course, with this current government, this is a follow-on from the previous government. It's the same government coming through, and much of the same ministers are in the same positions. However, these departments are still doing this process. We've been reading a few of this information being provided to the ministers, but there is one particular we wanted to discuss, which is actually mentioned in this article today, so again thanks to Tinsy for raising it. It's from Education New Zealand, who are a state agency that promotes New Zealand to international students, and it's to the Education Minister, the Hon Chris Hipkins, who by coincidence is also the Minister in charge of the COVID-19 response. Actually doing a pretty good job with that, we must say. But first we need to look, actually before that, we come to an announcement made by the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern yesterday, which is rather important to today's announcement. We'll link to both of the articles below that refer to these announcements. So yesterday there was a cabinet, which is basically all of the MPs for the government of power, come together and discuss things, and they have a post-cabinet press conference. Now, in yesterday's press conference, the PM announced that New Zealand and Australia have agreed in principle on a bubble to open between New Zealand and Australia early next year, depending on decisions made by Australian ministers. Now, to date, this has been discussed a number of times. There was hope to have a bubble in place by Christmas, but the issue has always been Australia's approach to handling outbreaks. The New Zealand approach is we have an outbreak of 1 or 2 people, and the government pounces. We have people working from home. We have a lot of testing. Australia is a bit more lackadaisical, a bit more laissez-faire, sort of a bit more relaxed as to how they react to things, and they look for a large number before they do that fast reaction, and that's what New Zealand was not so happy with opening a bubble. So perhaps there has been discussions with Australian ministers, and they're maybe looking at Australia being a bit more proactive and a bit tighter in how they handle outbreaks. That is just our assumption as to what the issue what they've been discussing about. But as we have said before, that a bubble would be breaking for a number of you who are stuck outside New Zealand. Now, up until December, about 40% of those who were flying into New Zealand and making use of the managed isolation, which everyone coming to the country has to go through, were, or what we call it MIQ, were coming from Australia, so 40%. Now, that's reduced to 32% in December due to other people from other areas of the world coming home, but generally 40% is a good round figure for Australians or people from Australia coming to the country. So if a bubble was formed, that would mean people from Australia no longer needed to use that MIQ, which would free up about 1,000 beds or 1,000 spaces per week, or just under 1,000. This would allow the government and Immigration New Zealand, of course, who work on government instructions, to allow more people into the country and possibly look at further border exceptions to allow people to come in. So this was announced yesterday by the Prime Minister. So in today's Education New Zealand's advising to the Ministry of Education, they're suggesting 500 students per month are allowed to enter New Zealand from January. Now that's a relatively small number compared to our usual numbers of students, but it would be the next step in letting more students come in. Now the suggestion would be for those who are doing longer courses, who are likely already enrolled and possibly already studying remotely, because they could come in probably a lot faster than those who are on shorter courses, who unlikely will still to have a visa. It's probably already expired. Now, John Coultier, the Education New Zealand General Manager for Stakeholders, did want to point out that this 500 student figure was part of a model developed back in October, that they haven't discussed it with other government departments. So it is still just an idea, a plan they've come up with, but with figures and that involved and how it would work, but it hasn't been worked through with other government departments. For now, it is just still an idea. However, it is an idea that's now been passed to the Minister from a government agency, and hopefully he will take on some validity in that idea because it has come from one of his own departments. So, and especially, of course, if this is if a bubble with Australia does open up, then putting this idea into place will be much easier. So for now, please look at it as hopeful good news. Something that if it came to pass would be fantastic, but it is not guaranteed yet. Do not look at it as being it's happening, because it may not. For now, it is purely an idea from Education New Zealand, but it is a great idea, one that we support, and hopefully it can actually grow from that. But that is it for today. We'll be back here on Saturday with another video. If there's anything before Saturday, we'll do a further video. We're not expecting anything, well, we are expecting the SMC things, but if they come through, we'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll be back on Saturday. Until then, kia kaha, stay safe, stay positive, and let's hope the Honourable Chris Hipkins starts letting in students sooner rather than later.